Hi, I'm Lori Grover. The topics of child and marital support are probably two of the most contentious issues that I deal with in divorces. As a mediator, I'm able to see both sides' points of view and their concerns, and I'm also able to pinpoint exactly what's preventing them from successfully working through these issues, which I'm going to explain. There's a genuine sensitivity over these issues in the minds of both men and women. Men feel as though they'll be forced into an unfair financial support situation, leaving them unable to meet their own financial needs or live a decent quality of life, while women feel as though they're going to be shortchanged and not get what they feel they need or should have. These are the underlying emotions that trigger anxiety and stem from what they've seen and heard happening in other divorces. So they automatically think that the same thing is going to happen to them. In reality, what divorcing couples face is a very emotionally charged standoff based on fear and hostility, which starts before they've even begun the process and can take their divorce down a road it really doesn't have to. Now, unfortunately, this is the result of many divorces settled within the legal system. But it's only the result of the legal system because couples allowed these negotiations and decisions to be made by others, like attorneys or judges. And while there are guidelines for child support and a means test for the court awarding alimony, if couples are unwilling to work through these issues cooperatively, they usually end up living with the exact outcome they feared would happen. Now, as easy as it may be to want to throw all of the blame to their spouses and the courts, like I hear so many people do, divorcing couples have to realize that they're not automatically predisposed to financial hardship or not getting what they feel is fair. They have a choice. And that choice is taking responsibility by discussing, negotiating, and agreeing between themselves and outside of family court. I've worked with numerous cases where both spouses felt vulnerable and very fearful over the outcome of these issues, especially alimony. In nearly all of them, we were able to take away the emotion, deal with facts and everyone's needs, and come away with an agreement both spouses felt was fair and they could both live with. What couples really have to understand is that having these issues resolved in a courtroom is their last resort, not their first option. No one willingly complies with any orders handed down by outside authority figures. That's just part of our natural tendency to rebel. But when couples reach an agreement that was based on mutual input, consideration, and compromise, they don't feel that loss of control over their lives. They tend to honor their agreements in higher percentages, and neither spouse is invalidated or taken advantage of in the process. Mediation is the perfect setting to discuss and settle these types of issues. The reason I believe that I've had so much success in this area is because of the financial tools I use in my practice that helps both spouses see exactly where they stand together and where they'll be financially after the divorce. This eliminates unrealistic expectations, clarifies everyone's needs and abilities, and it removes the emotional tug of war that so many couples struggle with when they don't have the facts to work with and base their decisions on. As I've said in many of my other videos, financial ignorance and poor planning created a lot of problems for me after my divorce. But you don't have to face the struggles I did during or after yours. Regardless of what decisions you and your husband or wife have to make, those decisions have to be yours. Rather than putting up more barriers and creating additional problems to solve that may require legal intervention, divorcing couples have to get out of the mindset that they're now enemies and that someone else is more qualified to make these decisions than they are. Regardless of who's giving the advice, you're the ones that have to live with the results. The main point in a divorce, no matter what decisions have to be made, is for both spouses to realize that given the proper environment and the right tools, any issue can be settled. Recently, one of my couples was faced with making the decision of who was going to stay in their home. Both could afford it, and both wanted to stay. I gave them some tips to work on the issue between sessions, and when we met again, I asked them how they did arriving at a solution. The husband smiled and said, "Well, we arrived at an agreement, and neither of us got what we wanted. We compromised, so I guess we got it right." As someone going into a divorce, your focus should be on solving whatever problems you have, not on how many disagreements you have. I encourage you to spend some time on our website. We've provided a lot of information from our personal and professional experience that can answer your questions and give you insight about how to proceed with your divorce. I also invite you to call and schedule a no-cost, no-obligation consultation to learn how mediation can help you in your divorce. And for convenience, we also offer consultations via Skype if it's difficult for you and your spouse to get to our office or you're located outside of the Rhode Island area. I'm Lori Grover, professional mediator. Thank you for watching.